Bond goes to Tokyo. Is it Tokyo? Have I just started? I've got that right. I know it is Tokyo. I'm not just I'm completely racist with
It is
that.
now.
No, he does go to Tokyo. Yeah,
Good.
you can see Tokyo Tower in the background when he's driving in his Toyota 2000.
You can immediately tell us all about that car, can't you, Chris? Because you're a big car guy.
What?
I took the point of learning about that car for this episode specifically.
I made a deliberate point of really not giving a caring whatsoever. So,
So what do we reckon? So you only live twice?
should I go first? Okay. Yeah, You Only Live Twice. I really enjoyed You Only Live Twice. There's a lot to like about it. It looks gorgeous. It's a fantastic score. It is probably the part where Connery starts to get a little bored, should we say? But he is still good, I think. There are some issues within the film, which I think we'll get into. But as it stands, I think it's a really good entry.
I think it's probably the weakest we've covered so far. I've watched it twice in the lead up to this. Not because he lives twice in the film, but because we postponed our original recording slot. So it had been about 10 days since I saw it, so I watched it again just prior to recording tonight. And it's a lot more entertaining than I remember. I would say that. I was never particularly bored. Connery's better in it than I remember in terms of how engaged he is with his performance, but he is starting to look seriously out of shape. And there's two scenes in particular, two fight scenes, which I think we'll get to, that it really shows him up quite badly. And I don't know how much of that's him and how much of it's the way it's directed and edited.
See, I didn't notice anything about the fight scenes. I thought it was pretty solid in that respect. But I do get what you mean. It's kind of odd because, at times it's like you can tell Connery's heart's not in it, but then at certain moments you think, oh, well, he does really, really good job. So it's like, it's kind of like he's kind of humming and hawing himself, going like, can I be bothered? Yeah, I can be. I'm not too sure now. Yeah,
it's really
okay,
down,
yeah.
isn't it? It's really sporadic. It's
Yeah.
probably one of his worst so far. As he kind of, as
He
someone,
was threatening to quit before they even started filming.
yeah, definitely.
And there was a
Sliding scale.
last minute sort of adjustment to his salary.
An extra $1 million.
Well, it wasn't quite that much. And
So
to be honest,
you suggesting that maybe the scenes where he's not so good are before he had his pay raise?
No. Before he even went to film, he was threatening to quit. They offered him, I believe, I haven't independently verified this, but I do believe they offered him points on the film's profits to keep him involved. And then, of course, he gets to Japan and is immediately swamped by fans everywhere he goes.
I wonder if that's what did it, because obviously by this point in his career, he was a superstar anyway. So and obviously kind of reached new heights with sort of the Japanese fans. So it's like a whole new level of, something obviously he'd not experienced before. Maybe that's what pushed him over the edge, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, at one point, was it on the commentary or one of the extras that he demanded bodyguards to keep him safe. And the bodyguards mobbed him. The bodyguards mobbed him as well. Just an absolute superstar, and he just starts getting to the point where he's not even interested in looking the part as Bond. He's overweight. How much of that was because of the late negotiations? He wasn't doing it, and then he was, and maybe didn't get into shape. But also, you can see extras on the film where he's strolling around quite happily without his wig on, which, with the way Eon were in those days, you've always got to look like Bond. You've always got to be professional. We come to this next week with Lazenby's attitude. He doesn't want to be there. And the very fact that they went there to a country where he was perpetually mobbed won't have helped.
No. Yeah, I think that was probably one of the main deciding factors in it.
You see, I don't think he was particularly out of shape. Well, at least not to my eyes. He just looked a bit older.
Yeah, it's the same. I wouldn't say he hasn't got to the stage of Diamonds Are Forever yet, where he clearly is want to have a bit of a...
He's gained a lot of weight.
But he still looks good.
Yeah, I still buy him. But I mean, I don't particularly notice the weight gain. I just notice, he's just like a slightly older looking Connery. which is to be expected, really,
Fair
if
enough.
you think about it.
1967, you know.
Yeah, so
It's 2 years from the last one as well, so they have, in some respects, he stepped off the treadmill, literally and figuratively. They were pretty much always filming Bond before. He's had time to go off and do other
Yeah,
things.
he's had a bit of a break in between now, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, the two scenes I really notice it in is when he first goes to Asato Chemicals, playing injured, and he gets into that fight, and he's in quite a state afterwards. He's very sweaty,
Yeah, he's a bit
and he
roughed up,
looks at
isn't he?
himself in the mirror as he's downing Japanese vodka, and you can almost see him like it's almost like the meta narrative is Christ, look what I've turned into.
It's like, geez.
And it really shows up as well, and I think some of this is editing. It shows up in the fight with Hans near the end. That, I mean, first off, he walks straight onto a punch. That's just bizarrely edited. I mean, he just walks face first into a punch. But you know, I was watching that and I couldn't help but think of the Red Grant fight. Now, not everything's going to match that, but I just thought this is the same guy only 4 years later.
it's amazing
it's a bit
what
strange,
4
isn't
years
it?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what a short gap can do.
But I don't know. I like the fist fights in this, particularly in the first half. I mean, I think a lot of popular opinion is that everyone's favourite bit is Volcano bit, but I really enjoyed the first bit where he's kind of investigating the company and he's sneaking around the offices and getting into fist fights with sumo wrestlers and whatnot. But it's quite actually well done. I quite like that kind of those parts.
Yeah, it's quite a brutal fist fight, isn't it? When he's kind of infiltrating Asato, and that's because there's a link between the fight, the guy that he fights, and The Rock, because it like his grandfather or something like that. But he's a kind of known wrestler, but it's really quite a brutal fist fight.
It is, and it's a good excuse for him to break out a samurai sword and try. I quite enjoyed that.
When he's training with the samurais as well. That's with the ninjas even.
The ninja training base, I love.
Yeah, that's one of the best scenes in the whole movie at the ninja training camp. It's so cool.
Yeah, but he didn't really need to turn Japanese. I didn't understand.
We'll get there. 'Cause I think once they get to the ninja camp, I don't like the film as much after that.
There's another thing which I think was completely unnecessary, and I'm not sure why they even did it. But I suppose we'll get to that a bit later on as we get into the film's plot. But I think it has a good, strong opening. It's like a spy investigation. Yeah, I kind of like it. I mean, the first half of this film, apart from Connery not being in shape, it bothered me more than it bothered you, Chris. I think. I think it's really solid, but it just starts to the whole thing start. I mean, this is where the Bond phenomenon starts to sort of calm down. Not so much in Japan, but it's got a 500,000 more on its budget from last week, so it's comfortably a very big budget. But it takes 30 million less than last week. Thunderball comes in at about 141. This comes in at about 111, and 20 million of that drop is the US box office. So what do you think went wrong then? Or do you think like they just had a gap and shit just cooled down with popularity? Because it still would have done well.
It's quite a topical film as well, because obviously you had the sort of 1966, 67 was like the height of the space race between America and Russia as well, so it's very politically relevant at the time.
I'm not quite sure what went wrong. I don't know. It went wrong. It was still a massive hit.
Yeah.
It's such a particular drop. I wonder if it was because a lot of the drop was the US market. We're only 20 years after World War II. I wonder if it's the Japanese angle. I don't know. I don't know that Casino Royale came out the same year, so there's a bit of a split of attention there.
Oh yeah, oh dear.
And yeah, we've had 2 years since the last Bond film, so all phenomenons start fading away at some point, I guess. But the other thing, of course, is Sean Connery quit during filming, so we're going to have the same problem next week. That you're promoting a film where the leading man has openly said he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I suppose that's probably where it lies. I'm guessing
maybe.
Because it is quite like a glamorous looking film and it's quite ambitious. I mean, the opening shot is in space. It's like right, well, Bond's now gone into that area, and I the bit I always find that was kind of scary. The idea of that poor guy getting like just cut off and lost in space.
Awful, isn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, it's one of the things where I hope he died instantly from that, because that would just be horrible.
Terrifying.
But having said that, it's like, why did he not move quicker? I think it's like he's there, like it's coming straight for us. Get in. It's coming straight at us. Well, get in, you idiot. Get back in.
Yeah, because they're just brought back in prison. They're not killed.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah. But it's like he's just like that's still dangling. I'm still alive, and it's like, oh look, oh no, now you're just in space.
But yeah, we're in space, and then we're in the Far East. Beautiful score over this. Actually, I love the score to this film.
I must say, this is one of my favourite John Barry scores.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So I love it.
But yeah, we've got the opening sequence, and you can just it is the end of that sort of first cycle of bloat before we get the sort of purge next week. But this film feels expensive to me.
I just think so. Travelling to location as far flung as Tokyo from obviously somewhere like.
You were going to say space.
Some space, yeah, exactly. That.
But I love the beginning bit because I loved how after like the US I was gonna say what's the correct word? I want to say like spaceship, but it's not right. Rocket. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's call it a rocket. The US space rocket gets
shuttle.
Yes, US space shuttle gets captured.
Anyway, don't matter. Go on.
We'll go. Gets captured, and then you got USA arguing Russia, going like you kidnapped our space shuttle, and they're like, no, we're a peaceful country, we didn't do it, and it's the Brits going
Russia's a peaceful country.
Yeah, and there's Russia going, well, actually, we don't believe that's really the case. We our sources came from Japan, and so I suggest that you look over. So basically, I loved how from the beginning it's showing that British intelligence are kind of with it, and kind of like.
We don't agree.
in a really kind of like smoking a pipe, going really relaxed. I'm just gonna let you argue for a bit, and then I'll step in, and go like, actually, you're kind of wrong. We're kind of right.
British man in the world as well.
And you know what? I tell you what, we'll send our best man. We'll sort it out for you. It's fine.
In fact, he's on the job right now.
The humour does take a slight step to the sillier in this one, because when Bond is in bed with Japanese lady who
Ling.
Yeah, she's in Casino Royale, by the way.
Yeah,
she is. She appears on the ship with Le Chiffre.
Yes.
I do love her line. It's so funny. She's like, "Darling, I give you a very best duck," and it's like, oh, cringe. Classic Bond line.
Yeah. But then he's shot, and it's like he died on the job. He'd have wanted it that way. That's a Roger Moore era joke.
That's, sliding towards the Roger Moore scale there, I think.
And he's proper bleeding. It must be some sort of blood pack or something. But
well, just imagine audiences going into that film. Obviously, it's called You Only Live Twice. But you probably wouldn't know, like, the Basho kind of poetry of it. But yeah, imagine audiences being in there in 1967 and thinking, oh, they killed James Bond. Oh my god,
They're
quite shocking.
I kind of had that feeling when I first watched it at a mate's house on VHS, right? Good, have TV, of course. And it was, and I had that kind of, well, not sort of like shocked, just like confused, like, what? So Bond's dead? So
yeah, what's going on?
That kind of, alright, so he's coming back, like, so, but yeah, I was that kind of, what, really? What's going on? What the hell?
No, it's quite serious. I've got a little quote in front of me. Obviously, you only live twice. Once when you were born, and once when you looked death in the face. So it's very deadly, isn't it? It's quite ominous. So yeah, it's quite shocking.
But that was more the book's theme, wasn't it? Because it was,
definitely.
It was a figurative death.
Oh, for sure, definitely. But then also, the book and the film are widely different.
First one to do that, deviate hugely.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, sure. So while we're talking about the book, why? I mean, I've not read it, so I'm taking it you guys have. Why?
No, I've had to read a synopsis of it. There's a handful of books at the end I've not read.
Okay.
I've read about as far as Majesty's.
I've read it, but a while ago.
do we? Okay, in the series of books, You Only Live Twice follows Majesty's. So why did the books kind of reverse that?
Locations. Trying to find locations. Originally it was going to go after Goldfinger, Majesty's. Don't want to talk too much about Majesty's because it's next week's, but the shifting schedule was all about It was all about finding right locations at the right time of the year. Most of this was filmed in the summer, so snowy scenes, Majesties. But yeah, it was just a better fit to do this now. And of course, they threw out the story and handed. We'll get to the formula, but they handed the script. This is the first one we don't have Richard Maybaum.
No,
This is written by Roald Dahl.
classic children's author.
I wondered where that BFG came from.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and the marvelous medicine they gave him. But yeah,
Like a car with a funny name.
but they gave him, and I have seen this before. This wasn't on the special features this time, but they gave him the formula. They basically told him to write to a formula.
Yeah,
There's three women. One of them is the enemy, and then there's one that's like a sacrificial lamb. And I think he kind of messed that bit up. We'll get to that a bit later on.
Yeah, because it made no sense plot-wise to have it. It's just...
Yeah.
Structurally, in how a Bond girl is introduced and the reasoning behind it, Kissy Suzuki's structurally the worst inserted until Christmas Jones. Because I mean we must come back to Bond girls as we go through the plot, but yeah, Roald Dahl writes this, and it kind of most of the things that aren't right with it are at a script level.
In the books, as far as we know, does James Bond turn Japanese?
I don't remember reading any allusion to that.
I don't know what it is, and out of all my watches for it, I always miss the part. So, what was the reason for him to turn? It just doesn't like. Why does he have to look like he's?
Literally to get into that village.
Yeah, to get into the village, obviously he's got to kind of marry a Hammer diving girl and sort of become Japanese, as it were. But like the book's completely different. Obviously he's getting revenge after Blofeld, he murders Tracy, and he's kind of visits Dr. Shatterhand's Garden of Death, which is like on a remote island in Japan, and it's just completely wildly different from the film. But yeah, he kills become Japan.
He kills Blofeld halfway through it as well.
It does, yeah. It's pretty much short and sweet.
And then he, I think
Kissy Suzuki pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. But doesn't he nearly get killed, and that's why he kind of like loses his memory, and does that lead on to Man with the Golden Gun?
He does end up basically, as I understand it. Please, those of you listening who know the books better, feel free to correct me, because I haven't read the book and Becca hasn't read the book for a few years. But yeah, I mean, he ends up basically in the hands of the Russians, and they sort of reprogram him effectively, yes. But that's not in this book. That's where he turns up in the next book. But yeah, doesn't know who he is.
So that's a good plot device for a film. I don't know. It's a shame they didn't never use that.
Isn't this the first book published after Ian Fleming's death? I think it might be.
Was it the last one that he was able to do?
There's a couple that were posthumous, because I know The Man with the Golden Gun was.
I think that was the first posthumous one, as far as I understand. Okay. Is there anyone listening? Please correct us.
Yeah. But yeah,
I do think Golden Gun was the first posthumous one, I think.
Yeah, there's no faked death or anything. The whole death is figurative, from the loss of Tracy, and
to kind of fit the title, I suppose. It's like, oh well, you have to fake his own death to kind of make the you only live twice. I mean, it's a nice sort of payoff with Blofeld towards the end anyway. It's like you only live twice, Mr. Bond, and kind of like a really kind of humorous kind of.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond, and a creepy voice.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It's a good job he does smoke in this film, actually.
It won't be the nicotine that kills you.
Well, it saves the day, because he has that fancy little gun cigarette, doesn't he?
That's what I mean, yeah. It's much harder to build into a nicotine patch.
That's it, exactly. There's a scene towards the end where he shoots the cigarette. Why doesn't he shoot it at Blofeld at that point? He's got,
Well, no, but the thing is though, he's thinking about the mission. Like he has to shoot at the guy to get at the controls to open it to let everyone else in. So he's like, if he shot Blofeld, it would have wasted his. Yeah, he would have killed Blofeld, but it would have
too easy.
But the plan probably would have
stopped the rocket.
Yeah, he wouldn't have. Yeah. Or you would have a better chance of stopping everything, and so.
No, exactly.
But that's at the other end of the film.
Yes. Anyway.
Like we've gone straight from the beginning to right at the very end. So Bond fakes his own death.
What do you think of the title sequence?
The title sequence. Love the song.
Yeah, it is a classic Bond tune, and it's one of the most iconic, I think.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I
Yeah,
would.
definitely. We got Robbie Williams referencing it in Millennium, his track, so it's definitely iconic, I think, for sure. But I think this title sequence is a little bit different because you obviously got it's more.
I like how like the blood splatter on the bed kind of like opens up like the I don't know what's the correct word? Is it like the kind of like
It's like a parasol, isn't it?
yeah, kind of opens up
yeah.
kind of opens up like that, and it kind of it matches really well, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. And the
There aren't many Maurice Binder. I mean, I whilst fully acknowledging his impact on the series, there aren't many Maurice Binder sequences I actually like very much. This one's all right. That's all I can
It's
say.
not very
about it. I love the song.
Binder-ish, is it? It's kind of you haven't got like the naked girls. You've got all the geishas, but it's mainly kind of the backdrop of the volcanoes exploding, and kind of geisha girls doing very deep bows.
It's actually one of the few bits of the film that looks a little cheap. I think it's lava stock footage and stuff.
That's it. I must say it's quite chaste as well. I must say in terms of.
There's not enough tits in it for you, Becca.
Well, I didn't say that, Dave. You guys.
What was that? Oh, too late.
You can count. When Daniel Craig comes out of the sea in his blue shorts, that's when I want to pay attention. So.
That's just sexist.
Well, I'm sorry.
I don't know about you, but I find the recent entries in terms of title sequence like kind of have Bond too much in him, if you know what I mean.
Bond was in a lot of the earlier ones, though.
Yeah, but
It's certainly Roger Moore era. He was
I don't mind having.
Yeah, he's in a couple.
I don't mind having like Bond like a bit kind of like as a kind of a figure, but I think as you move more to Daniel Craig, he kind of becomes like a prominent thing.
Yeah, he's
as in
them
like
quite a lot, isn't he?
yeah, it's like yeah, I don't know.
I love the Daniel Kleinman sequences, though.
Oh, Casino Royale, that's one of my favourite. I love it. I could watch that forever.
I like it up to the point where Daniel Craig walks up and it's like, no, they could have thought of a better way. But I get why, because it's like interesting introducing a new Bond after like several years after being off. But yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we then cut to post sequence and post Casino Royale discussion section of the film.
we love a ramble on this. We love the tangent.
We go aboard with M and Moneypenny out in the field.
We do. He gets gets buried at sea and then gets kind of
collected very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, very quickly and efficiently by the Navy.
Yeah.
No. Can I ask a question? Why is Bond's death faked?
Because the title of the film's You Only Live Twice.
Well, I get that, but in terms of the plot,
a bit of break, I guess.
It's supposed to make him. He's becoming too well known.
Or maybe if he didn't go around the place telling him his name's James Bond all the freaking time, maybe.
Well, M says, maybe your friends will pay a little less attention to you. And
okay.
So really, instead of faking his death, he should just go around telling people he's called Peter Briggs or something.
Yes.
My blogs, Joe blogs.
All right, then, fair enough. The thing I noticed, though, is Moneypenny's in uniform. And I never actually thought of her as military background. I know it's military intelligence.
Well, she's on a submarine, isn't she?
But
so
they have civilians.
But so is M.
Hers too
yeah,
long.
but M is an
I'm
admiral.
afraid.
But wouldn't Moneypenny be like in kind of like similar uniform as his secretary?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. For me, it just felt more like, oh well, it's the uniform must match what everyone else is, so hence why Moneypenny.
She's a naval secretary, so therefore must be in uniform.
Yeah,
but they look very smart. So
yeah,
she does. She looks really good in this.
Though
another Bond does wear uniform is looking pretty good.
I must say she's starting to look a bit old now. Moneypenny.
She's about 40 at this point,
and think that she goes through from here to.
It gets worse.
Yes, it really does.
I think probably Diamonds is the last film she looks young enough to be that playful sparring love interest, sort of, for Bond.
Sure.
After that, and when we get the Moore era, even though Moore's too old himself, they're much more. They flirt, but they're like old friends.
Both of them do look quite old by the time you get to, for example, A View to a Kill, and you think, oh.
Yeah, horrible.
But I think she ages well, bless her.
But M's come out to the field because this is the big one, 007.
This is the big one, 007, yes. This is the big one.
I wonder how much of the Navy rum on the ship he'd gone through by that point.
Oh, Berners-Lee. God bless
This
you.
is the big one, 007. I'm 007, that's a broom closet. We have the next step on a path that culminates in Roger Moore as well, of Bond being an insufferable fucking smartass. She throws him a phrase book and he replies.
Yeah,
I forget that's the first.
In Oriental languages at Cambridge. Doesn't help you very much by the time we get to Tomorrow Never Dies, does it?
No, he can't read the into keyboard, can he? No. I mean, you got it all then.
Because if you're recruited to the Royal Navy from Cambridge University, of course you'd have been doing Oriental languages.
Well, you know, languages is quite a useful thing to have, you know, especially
it's quite a useful thing to have, but it's just a bit random.
Well, the important thing is he got a first in it, so you know he knows his Japanese basically.
Yeah, but if you like, it's just like, it's like you appreciate the sentiment. The polite thing to do be like, oh yeah, cheers, thanks, and just not use it.
Thank you very much. You're gonna be all smug bastard about it, would you?
Yeah.
But the series kind of tends to do that, like make a point of like, oh, Bond knows this. I mean, like there's meant to be like a thing about Bond and nuclear devices, like in Goldfinger he doesn't know how to do it. In Octopussy he does know how to do it.
Yeah.
And in and in World's Not Enough he does it, but with some help.
One of the scenes, just a tangent again. It's one of the scenes Roger Moore gets most ridiculed for, being like dressed as a clown. But I think that scene is really tense and well done.
Yeah, it's really silly how he's dressed in a clown, but also it's one of the most tensest scenes in the whole film.
Mm.
But you can, well, I suppose talk about, I don't know. We're talking about Octopussy now.
Octopus.
Okay, let's get back on track.
We've done a little bit of Thunderball.
Let's get back on track now, guys. Come on.
All right then. So where do we go from there? So I'm actually trying to talk about the film this week as well. I don't mind the tangents, but like we don't do plot synopsis because like anyone listening to this has probably seen the films, but there are large swathes of the films we've not really been talking about. So we're going to try and sort of go through it. Where does he go from there then? He goes to meet.
Goes to meet Tight. No,
he goes to the sumo, which I think accounts for his weight because he saw sumo as a location and just assumed.
But by the way, I Love You is not a good code name to me. I mean, like,
you can at least do it in Japanese as well.
That could have gone.
I love you and
like,
I love you.
Like what? Because like, wouldn't she have, or this contact have like a response to kind of know that they're the right contact? Because he goes like, "I love you." Well, yes. She goes, straight into it. It's like, I don't know.
Could be anybody, couldn't she? Really?
Yeah, she immediately says there's a hotel. He might just be talking to like the easiest fucking guy in Tokyo. He's just gone, "I love you." She's gone, right.
I've got a hotel nearby. I have a car nearby even.
Oh dear, that sumo scene was done for real because they don't fake it, do they?
No, that's really good. That's an actual sumo wrestling match.
I really love the sound of like the whole. Like, I'm not saying that to be funny. I generally had a really good atmospheric feel to it.
I like this scene a lot.
Yeah,
that's something I'd like to do. If I ever make it to Japan, I think it's one of the things to do on the tourist trail. Is like see a sumo, wrestler, go up the Tokyo Tower, go up the Sky Tree, ride on the Shinkansen. That would be amazing.
Find a volcano layer.
First, we'll be recording our Spectre podcast from Japan.
Maybe not. But climb Mount Fuji. That's something else I'd like to do. See Fuji-san. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
then he meets Blofeld, sort of.
Does he?
Well, sort of.
Yeah, Charles Gray plays Dicko Henderson.
Oh, of course, yeah, Blofeld number 3. Oh, yeah.
Blofeld number.
I kind of loved his introduction because like he meets him and to kind of prove it's him, he just hits him in the fake leg he's meant to have.
You're glad his intelligence is correct there,
Yeah, it's like
oh shit, it's the left.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's the right leg. Yeah, I really like that little thing. But
you got it right.
But that hitman really knows his stuff. He knows exactly where he's going to be at the exact right amount of time, doesn't he? To push that knife in.
Yeah, and no scream. He just stops talking.
Yeah,
It's,
it's convenient.
Very precise.
it's
He's
really
obviously a trained ninja.
yeah, so he doesn't actually get much information out of Dick Henderson, does he?
No, but
No, he doesn't. He's quite short, isn't he? So...
he does chase down the guy and breaks his neck, which is quite brutal. What I
It's a
remember.
very brutal fight, isn't it? It's awful.
But that's well. Then we get into the whole like he pretends to be him, which Dave alludes to.
Jumps into the
Yeah.
waiting car outside and is no idea where he's going. He just knows Henderson's been killed.
Yeah, but I kind of like that when Bond does that.
I
He's
love
like,
that. I think the first half of this film, there's actually some pretty good detective work going
It's actually
on.
Bond doing his job, being
Yeah.
a spy and doing some sneaking around, which is pretty cool.
yeah. So basically, he goes to the office, has a fight with the guy because he finds out it's not him, which I think is a pretty good fight.
It's really good.
And
I think it's a good fight. It's just Connery looks fucked when it's finished.
But it's quite a brutal fight.
He hasn't done any exercise since the set of like Thunderball. He's just like, oh my god.
and then what happens next?
He kills him, hides him in the drinks cabinet, drinks some Russian
Siamese vodka.
Siamese
Oh.
vodka. Sorry. So basically,
Not that I just like
vodka
Siamese
from
vodka.
Thailand, and from there he gets picked up by Aki, and it's the first time we meet Aki.
Yeah, I kind of expect him to kind of do like the Austin Powers, like jump up, roll down, and go into like the passenger seat of the
Oh,
car.
I'll just jump into the there's a lot of Austin Powers in this film.
Yeah.
I think we should do Austin Powers as another podcast as well, seeing as we reference it so much.
I'm for that, definitely.
Only 3 movies, it's alright. Not so long.
We'll see. The
Yeah.
only person who's commented on it fed back that they didn't want us to do it.
Oh.
Funnily enough, they just said like that. Why don't you just do a general one on Bond parodies? So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
maybe we'll see. We'll see. It wouldn't be for a
Anyway.
while anyway, because if we did this in release order, it would be between GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies anyway.
Yeah, it should be its own separate thing anyway, just kind of like a little bonus thing.
It's a retrospective we might do.
But yes, so this is where Bond meets Tiger
Tiger Tanaka.
Tanaka.
Tanaka, who has video surveillance footage that exactly matches the film.
It's amazing.
It's
Cameras
brilliant.
everywhere.
He's got really, really good camera work. This.
Yeah, it even follows him down corridors and everything.
Yeah, I know.
Really cinematic
He
style
hasn't got
video.
CCTV. He's got a cameraman who just follows.
But I like how he's trying to. I like his whole setup. How he tries to fuck with Bond, even though he's meant to be on his side. It's like, yes, we'll lure him into a trapdoor, and
He could totally have. Aki could have totally said, "I'll take you to him."
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't that easy, was it?
Yeah.
That would have been boring.
It would have been, but then it's where like the plot, like, and the logical sense. It's like, what's more exciting, this? But what's more realistic? Well, that.
Yeah. What's more interesting?
Yeah.
But I really like Tiger Tanaka.
Yeah. Isn't he voiced by someone we heard before?
Is it Rietti? It's the guy who did
Rietti,
Largo,
that's the
I
one.
think.
Yeah.
You do hear his own voice, and I only noticed it on this viewing this afternoon, where they're at the sort of bath.
Yeah, when he's in his
He
bathhouse.
turns to speak in Japanese to somebody, and that's his own voice. And it just sounds totally different. It's a completely different tone of voice.
It's really deep, isn't it? His natural voice.
Actually, no, I think his Tiger Tanaka voice is deeper.
Oh, okay. Oh.
If you not his, but you know what I mean, the voice they used for
Sure,
him.
sure.
But it is noticeably different. But yeah, he's not Bond's equivalent. He's M's equivalent.
I like how he's got, his own private underground train, and he's like, oh, I'm sure your M in London has a similar arrangement. And it's like, yes. This makes me laugh.
Andy knows that he flirts with Moneypenny.
He does, yes, that's it.
We have our sources too, Bonds.
Yes, Mr. Bond.
And it's from then he gives Bond a bath by several women, which he gets
Before
to
that,
choose.
before that, he gives him sake, which is another sort of, again, I talked in one of the early episodes about this being a bit of a travel log, and it's more on display in this episode. They're showing audiences an unfamiliar culture.
definitely.
And Bond's got to be an expert of it because he's educating us as well. So he very conspicuously tells us the temperature you're supposed to serve.
Yeah, he knows the right temperature at which to drink sake, so which makes it very oishi, very delicious.
I've never had sake.
Nor have I.
I have. It's delicious.
Does it taste like anything else we know?
No, it's quite because it's like rice wine, so I taste it's a little bit sour, but I don't know. It's very very nice though. But I can if you get to try it,
Yeah, because that sounds.
Asian restaurant, then please do try it.
That basically sounds like a nice warm cup of vinegar. That doesn't sound appetizing.
Yeah. So basically, our Spectre podcast will be recorded in Japan, pissed on.
Siamese vodka, sake.
Yeah. So then they go to the baths, and this bit of the film is actually probably the first because this was one of my favourites when I was a kid, and I always remembered the men come first in Japan thing.
Mm.
I don't know why that stuck with me, but it was just like. But apparently on set, Tetsuro Tamba was, barging his way through doors first and stuff because that's the Japanese custom.
That's very much. That's very much the culture. Men do come first in sort of the Japanese culture, as it were.
Yes.
The women's are kind of like for the home, and like when if you're in Japan, if you're married, then obviously you get married and have kids, and that was it. You give up work. And obviously your husband would be the breadwinner. So
I was all right till you said the husband would be the breadwinner. I thought you meant Chris could quit when we were. All right, no problem.
Yeah, men come first in Japanese culture.
Yeah, and of course he gets a massage. And she swaps out Faraki, and I actually think they've got really good chemistry, these two. Would you not agree?
Well, and it's not really necessarily about the chemistry. It just seems to that romance kind of springs out of nowhere. She literally
does spring out of nowhere.
She literally just creeps up and goes like, "Oh hey," and they both kiss. It's like, hang on, where the
you gave
fuck
him a
is
lift earlier that evening. That's all.
Yeah, you met him twice, and it's just
Which does support the easiest lay in Tokyo theory.
And it's like I don't think it's even much flirting. Even it's not even like there's something going on between them. It's just like it just feels like, hey, and then they just make out. It's all of a sudden it's like, oh well, that's it.
But shoehorned in, I think.
She has another great line. This is the bit of the film that's botched, I think, because this bit gets rushed because he's got to get through another. He's been handed a formula to write, and he's got to get through another two lovers. So basically,
that's really why it's so rushed.
It's rushed, but of the three of them, she's the only one that has any chemistry at all with Sean Connery.
Yeah,
so it really hurts the film afterwards.
I mean, I'll say I'll go into it. I really find the whole point of killing her off pointless, and it's even evident more so because they kill her off and there's just no real consequences from it afterwards. It just feels like, oh, she's dead, and then literally, in a couple of scenes,
whining about getting an ugly woman later, literally,
the next scene, he's like, oh, well, fine, that's fine. We'll marry off someone else. All right, she'll do, and it just feels, and literally, it's like, after that, he's like, are we gonna have sex? Are we gonna have sex? It just feels like, fuck's sake, it does.
It's really, it is writing to a formula. You can see it. But it's not fully understanding the formula, and it's not fully understanding screenwriting. He wasn't a screenwriter, and he clearly isn't Dick Maybaum, and it really shows you, it shows the quality of what we've had to this point. This is the formula done wrong. It doesn't, the film's still enjoyable, but this is what happens when the formula's done wrong.
I wouldn't say it's done wrong, but it's perhaps not in the hands of. Roald Dahl is, just one of the literary greats. But I think it's not in the right hands, I would say.
Yeah, it's like I say, we'll get to all the wedding stuff in a minute, because Bond himself starts to piss me off around then. But yeah, so he now has to go back to Osato Chemicals.
Oh yeah, and so he
meets them for real.
Yeah, so he pretends like he's someone else. Has a meeting. Yeah, they figure out that he's armed, so he's clearly someone who is kind of not to be trusted. They kind of, okay, well, we'll kill him. And literally, they decide to kill him. Well, literally, as he's walking out the building, like it's like, wouldn't you?
You can probably still hear him. He's probably within earshot still.
He's like, wouldn't you kind of follow him to find out where he is and then go and kill him? Isn't killing him literally the second he goes out, he walks out of your building? Bit obvious.
Why play along with the deception that you're having a business meeting? If you're going to get someone to do a drive-by on him right by the front door to your building.
That's quite an obvious drive-by, isn't it?
It's not very subtle, is it?
No, with a giant machine gun.
You could follow him a couple of miles away and then shoot him. But no. Yeah.
Or you could just like do what every Bond villain should do and just like take him to a room somewhere and then shoot him.
They never get that chance, funnily enough.
Yeah. But no. I just found I think it's probably just down to like pacing, like, oh, we need a beat now. Again, it's like it's visual plot rather than like reality plot. It's just really just like, oh, come on, really. And the whole thing about the like Tiger getting a helicopter with a big magnet and just picking the car up.
Just a drop in the ocean.
Yeah, but like literally, Bond is literally not doing anything. He's just literally
watching
going,
it on TV in the car.
Yeah,
which again must have been possibly high tech. Very, very conspicuous.
Where was that camera? I really want to know where that camera was.
It's hidden away.
Hang on, I'd never thought of that. Yeah, there must be another camera up there.
This is Japan, they're having the technological they're famous for miniaturization technology, and don't think about it too much.
Yeah, no.
But we haven't had to do that as much in the first 4 weeks. I mean, there's plot holes in anything if you pick hard.
If you analyse it too much, it becomes...
Certainly.
I know, but it's too much fun not to, though. That's the...
Yeah, but...
yeah, exactly. And that's quite a big plot hole.
It's the first one that you can sit and... It's enjoyable, but it's the first one you can sit and pick serious holes in a humorous way. It's the first one you can sit and take the piss out of, really. Yeah, and then we get the whole Aki's killed by poison meant for Bond.
No, does he turn Japanese though after that? Because in the whole ninja training camp.
Yeah, because Aki's killed, and they've got.
Oh no! He doesn't. There's the plane bit, isn't there? Because he sleeps with the Bond villainess with ginger hair Mark II.
Yeah, basically.
We need to speak about her a little bit.
Fiona Volt's dead. We'll cast this one.
Yes.
We're ahead of ourselves as well. Yeah. What about the massive rooftop fight by Kobe Docks?
Oh yes, actually they go to yes, when he in his first meeting with Tiger Tanaka, they see a photograph of a ship called the Ningpo, and the person who took that shot was killed for taking it.
The tourist was liquidated.
They've got to follow the ship, and the ship is in. So it's him and Aki at that point. I'd misremembered that actually, because there's a lovely tracking shot of him running across the roof.
That's incredible. I
always thought that was the 007 theme that played to that, but it wasn't. It is the film's theme that plays over it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's one of my favourite shots in the whole movie. It's really, really good.
Yeah, but it's good fight sequence as well, because it shows like Bond actually just down with it, just fighting, shooting his way out of the situation.
Exactly, and it shows a little bit more of the relationship between Bond and Aki as well. Yeah. I mean, even though it's one that's not really believable and it has to happen by a certain point, but she's like, Bond's like, right, okay, go over there and hide yourself. And
there was one bit where I couldn't help but think of the Naked Gun though, because there's two bits in it. Firstly, that tracking shot must have been done in like one take or something, because there are errors where he vaguely wafts at someone and they're unconscious.
You can see there's a gap between
the other
his fist and their face, and it's like, oh.
But when he's making his escape and he's jumping down the levels onto like soft landings, there's a bit where you see the second jump he does. It's Bob Simmons.
Yeah, you can see it's Bob Simmons.
Who just to correct the impression we may have given you in an earlier episode, did not play the tarantula in Doctor No. We got waylaid and changed the subject.
He wasn't the spider.
But yeah, he dives off. He dives onto it, and then he jumps off, and then hides, and then Sean Connery pops up. And it just reminds me of the Naked Gun when Leslie Nielsen's like, when he's doing like, he's doing all vaults through the apartment, lands behind the bed, and then gets up, all that sort of thing. But it is a really good sequence. It's one of the better parts of the film.
Sorry to ruin the magic of cinema for you.
Well, it wasn't going to be Connery who did it, was it? But it was kind of really obvious.
No, so they have the rooftop fight, and then what?
I can't remember if I only saw this afternoon as well, but I can't remember if he turns Japanese before. Yes, he does. He's told.
He's interrogated by oh god, what's her name? Helga Brandt.
Helga Brandt.
Yeah, and then sleeps.
She interrogates him in a cocktail dress.
Yeah.
Cocktail dress.
Sleeps with him, of course, and then but basically
things I do for England.
Basically, she plays it as in like making think Bond's turned her over. So they get in a plane thinking,
He
right,
might have turned her over. We don't know what they got up to.
well, thinking like, oh, okay, well, like she's gonna go along with us and like,
absolutely.
And but she's like, oh no, actually, I'm gonna kill you now, bye, and literally just climbs out of a plane, and I can't help but thinking like the plane trim with that Flossie, how casually she just steps out of it, and you're like, I'm jumping off now, bye.
That's a really obvious rear projection too.
But I kind of like it. I kind of like the action of like a body. I mean, you think about the first half; it's actually quite fast paced and action oriented.
It is really.
It's a really good film. For me, I mean, I still stand by everything I said earlier about it being a bit frayed around the edges. Connery not quite being in shape and everything else.
No,
and that's the last time I'll refer to that. But it is like it's all part of it. All starting to feel a bit more tired this week. But certainly, the problem I've got is once he turns Japanese.
Yeah, I think it's a film of two halves, definitely. Once you kind of the first half, and then it's obviously before he turns Japanese.
Well, this infiltration isn't there at the camp. He's learning to be a ninja, which the film I thought of when I was watching this was Aliens, because he gets thorough like ninja training in about 2 days, right? And it just reminds me of that bit in Aliens where Hicks teaches Ripley to use a gun. And she's an absolute badass after her 12 seconds of training.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes me laugh, the shortcuts films have to take. So he's a top ninja within a couple of days.
Yeah, I don't think Bond ever displays his top ninja skills ever, really, though.
No, he doesn't at all.
No, he never gets to use it.
After that.
But he's not the one throwing that shuriken to, put Blofeld off at the end. So.
To get, sorry?
Get going over time.
It's a different film from us.
Well, sorry, did he go off in his hand?
Can I say that bit again, please?
Nope.
Without any question. I can edit this, so I know Chris ain't.
But it does. It's a film that
distracts Blofeld at the end.
it does start to get a little silly.
Making him off would distract him.
It does.
I've never drunk in this podcast, but I think I probably should start doing it.
Yeah, you'll be.
Please. Oh, God. My sides are hurting. Oh dear.
So anyway, I think out of the Connerys, just the one where things start to get a little silly. I mean, as much as beloved it is, I mean, the concept of Little Nell is
Little Nelly. We have to speak about Little Nelly.
Yeah, it is a little bit kind of play humorous. Like there's a little tiny little helicopter that Q just kind of designed.
A toy 007, please. Use my helicopter
as well. It's a very long sequence.
Yeah.
It's the last time we hear the 007 theme for a while.
It is. It's a very good sequence, though.
Yeah, I like it. I watched it today and quite enjoyed it.
And it's one of the most iconic Bond vehicles, I think. So there's a bit of a local link between, a tenuous link.
Essentially, it's the Bond in the car kind of sequence where he's got all the gadgets things. It's that kind of.
The cameraman lost his foot filming this.
Yeah, it's very deadly. Deadly sequence.
He was hanging from one of the helicopters in a harness, and his foot got sliced.
Ouch.
Eventually, they had to amputate it.
Yeah, it's awful.
Ouch! And then he eventually survived and he continued to
filmed
shoot.
Majesties, but he did die in a fall about 3 years later. I was reading today, Catch-22 was the last thing he filmed.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
That's a good film.
Yeah, but
Good book too.
He didn't film the book.
No, obviously not. It's a really
Cinematography
good
is
movie.
shite book, actually.
It's just text, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Boring.
But
It's a good book and a good movie. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's a fun little sequence though, and I like.
And it serves a purpose because he does find out he does confirm his suspicions.
Yeah,
That
particularly
the
when
was hijacked and landed in that area.
particularly when looking and five helicopters try to shoot him by
they
looking.
left it, you know.
I know it's literally it's like I see nothing volcano. It's like, oh, hang on, I'm being attacked here. It's just like if Blofeld just said like
Leave it, he'll go home. Because when he stood right by the volcano, he doesn't recognise that as a roof.
Yeah,
No,
He'd have no chance from a helicopter.
it's quite way up. So
But yeah, so then they decide because they're infiltrated, and basically there are people within the camp trying to kill him. They do eventually kill Aki, but before that he has to undergo. He's told he can't marry her. It has to be someone from the village.
that's me. Yeah, I'm a dog.
And because that's the whole point, really.
particularly because she's
and
now
he's got to
dead
have
anyway.
this makeup, and again, I think it's where Team America got the sequence where they made Gary over.
Yeah.
So, he
becomes-
undergoes complicated surgery and just looks like he's got shit on his face. And then Sean Connery, they literally put on a different wig. He narrows his eyes and stoops a bit.
And that's it pretty much because he's quite
That's it.
tall. So.
And
it's
it
quite an
slowly
impressive
reverses itself as well, because by the end of the film, he's got none of it left.
I think to finish off, they should have put like false teeth on him. Go the whole.
Oh, it would look like
Charlie
Breakfast
Chan.
at Tiffany's, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Oh dear.
But I Bond in this sequence really he's training as a ninja. You don't see him do anything. That's probably the capabilities of the actor, to be fair.
No, I didn't see him use any of his ninja skills. Did he?
And he behaves like a whiny twat over this whole marriage thing. And the thing is, he's meant to be an agent. The job does come first. We saw that earlier in the Connery era, where he's on the boat with Tatiana. You know, the job comes before all of that, and he's basically moaning that they might give him a minger. It's just.
But even after that, she's like, "Are we gonna have sex?" No, this is all about mission. Well, I'm not gonna eat these oysters then. It's like,
No, that's it. Well, that's why he's not so annoyed that he can't marry Aki. Because, he's obviously.
yeah.
But they've killed her off so that he can
But
pursue sex here.
I mean, earlier in the scene, so.
And
obviously before she
there's no
dies.
chemistry here. This
Kitty,
actress,
even, sorry.
they swapped roles, didn't they? Aki and
Yeah.
Kissy.
Kissy, that was, yeah.
The actors were going to be the other way around, but because Aki required a lot more English, a lot more speech,
Yeah.
and Mia Hamer's English wasn't very good,
No, they swapped him over.
they swapped them over. They were going to sack her to start with, but she threatened to kill herself,
She's like, no, I must do this role.
which is just bizarre. But yeah, there's no real chemistry here. They go out for a bit of a recce the next. Basically, his whole disguise at marriage is for the bit where he walks off the boat onto the island, the area where the village is. Basically, says something Japanese in a broad Scottish accent with a very conspicuous earpiece in, which you can see under
Very
the hat.
obvious.
I think that was for the actor, not for the character. And that's it. That's the whole reason for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go into a cave. There's nerve gas, so they jump out, and then that's it. He's
Go
kind
for a
of
swim, and that's it.
he's kind of normal again.
Well, yeah, I suppose it had done its job by then. But then
It's quite interesting from a cultural aspect as well, because you kind of get to see, obviously not all of it, but some of the aspects of a Japanese wedding, which is interesting. I don't know. I think it's interesting anyway.
the scene played quite long, and again, I think it was for that exact reason.
Yeah,
We're seeing a bit of a different world.
exactly.
But I know that they then go on a recce. The thing where he goes to, because we're getting towards the sort of final act of the film now, where he sort of goes and finds the base. What made him take knee and hand suction cups with him?
That's what the ninja use.
But he's just out for a wander, having a look, dressed as a fisherman or whatever that's meant to be, in his smock.
A good ninja is always prepared.
Yep, that's the one.
But they're going to look into an open volcano. He doesn't know it's an open volcano at this point, or that there's any way in there. And he's taken suction cups with him. And a really unflattering grey jumpsuit.
Isn't that the motto of the Scouts as well? Be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
but I
along
bet
those
if
lines.
they went to a scout meeting, they wouldn't have suction cups on them.
Well, no, but I just kind of thought in the whole preparation.
Yeah, but what he's wearing is what all the other ninjas come with when they
Yeah,
attack.
it's the same ninja outfit, isn't it?
But yeah, that just seemed really, really odd. It was just like, I mean, we go through it a lot in future films with the Q scenes where he's always given exactly what he needs for the mission.
Sure.
But that was just a bit of an odd thing to take.
Apparently that scene was quite difficult to film because, like, I was listening to the commentary and they were speaking to Richard Graydon, Lord Graydon, and saying that scene was quite difficult to film because he was had to do it shot upside down, or it was a very complicated scene apparently, but very interesting anyway.
Yeah, and one of the stuntmen broke his ankles coming down on the
Yeah.
at the end. But, this set cost cost as much as Doctor No.
It's very expensive.
What do you think of it?
It's
First big layer.
It's a famous volcano layer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's iconic, and it's what we all think of really when we think of like the evil Bond villain base.
Yeah, the typical Bond villain layer is a hollowed out volcano layer, and it's like this is the only time we see it.
Apart from the Spy Who Shagged Me, of course, but.
But in terms of the Bond realm, this is it. But it seems like the archetypal, quintessential Bond lair, you know.
Yeah, I think so. This, as I say, when we go to the ninja camp, we then get into like unconvincing Japanese man, very whiny Bond, and then we go for this whole action sequence, and it's a bit too long. But I mean, he does actually fight his way. The actions he takes when he's there are quite logical. But it's all a bit too long, and I don't know what you made of the Blofeld reveal.
He's still kind of like kept. It's weird because Blofeld doesn't sort of turn up till the last half. Even then, he's still kind of kept kind of identity hidden, and you think like there would have been shades of Blofeld throughout the film, kind of like slowly gathering more wind. But it's literally like. He gets a volcano, like then we kind of like, oh well, there's the big guy in charge. He's stroking a cat. We don't really see his face. He's telling off what's the name?
Yes, because it turns out Mr. Osato and Karen Dor are both. Karen Dor's the actress.
Yeah.
Sorry, Helga Brandt.
Helga Brandt, both Spectre agents.
They're both Spectre agents.
Yeah, she's number 11. Is that right?
She's number 11.
Yeah,
is it number 10, number 11?
Basically, he kills number 11 for failing, even though like it kind of makes him sweat for it. It's like, oh, I don't tolerate failure kind of thing. But again, it's a classic thing of like of making the one guy thinking that he's going to die when it's the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I know he's got a big, massive, tall, blonde henchman who doesn't say anything at all.
No, and a pool of man-eating piranhas.
Yes. Oh, yes, and
yeah.
She did that herself, Karen Dor, which is impressive, I think.
What, she got eaten by piranhas?
No, she didn't really get eaten by piranhas, but she had some men pulling her down and everything.
She did do the fall
really
into the thing, yeah.
Yeah, did it by herself.
Well, it isn't the most difficult stunt in the world, I suppose, but I mean, she did hit it on the way down.
It looks convincing.
But yeah, I mean, this is again another one of these tropes that leads to the whole Doctor Evil with wanting sharks with laser beams on their heads.
Attached to their freaking heads.
Yeah, it's so. And again, it's another tall, blonde Aryan henchman in the red ground mode.
He always reminds me of the guy in Few Eyes Only. He always kind of like
Oh yeah, I see who. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think they were aiming more for a Red Grant at the time.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, they probably weren't recalling a film they wouldn't make for 14 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed almost kind of extraneous. He didn't really need it. He just fulfills this role of tall black.
The action scene between Hans and Bonds is, I think, flat out bad because it's edited and directed such that Connery almost like walks onto a punch, and it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of the worst fight scenes.
Yeah,
I like the payoff though.
This is the first entry from Lewis Gilbert. We haven't mentioned the director apart from at the top of the show.
No, chat about some more.
And I think
he effectively he's always accused of directing the same film 3 times.
Oh yes, because of Spy Who Loved Me
and Moonraker, and they're all
similar sort of theme.
They're all broadly very, very similar plots. There's a little echo of Goldfinger in it as well. That the scheme is about causing ructions in the West, allowing the Far East to take advantage. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Lewis Gilbert fan. I mean, I I'll be interested to rewatch The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker, because I know certainly one of those is very well thought of. But I think this is the weakest film we've had so far. And I'm just not a massive fan of his work. At least with Guy Hamilton, who's done entries I don't like, we got Goldfinger.
That is true. And there's also Live and Let Die as well.
He's named for like a few other lots of different films, obviously, because he did like Educating Rita is one of the famous films.
Lewis Gilbert did Educating Rita, and he did again a really kind of a left field choice because he had just directed Alfie.
Exactly, but he's done lots of other like war movies as well, like Carve a Name with Pride. Sink the Bismarck is another one that comes to mind. Admirable Crichton as well, I think.
I haven't seen any of those, but I have seen his lighter comedies.
But yeah, obviously, I mean, like...
he did Shirley Valentine as well?
Yeah, I love that movie. And also, like, Alfie, which is, like, you know, sort of comedy and...
Yeah.
Quite varied film career, I think.
Alfie? What's that all about?
What's it all about,
I really forgot that as well. I was just about to tell you.
Also the name of the film. Well done.
But yeah, Blofeld is a late recast. They started with another actor called Jan Werich.
And what's he been in?
Oh, good question. Becca, do you know?
I'd have to look him up on imdb.com.
Yeah, okay. Maybe worth doing. But he was cast, but he was a much more... I mean, he had hair for a start and a beard. And when they cast him, they thought he was far too...
Santa Clausy.
They said he looks like he looked almost like a Father Christmas type figure. They'd done all of Connery's reaction shots to Blofeld in that control room scene. He's reacting to Jan Werich.
And it was basically a guy with a beard.
A guy with hair and a beard. If you look up Jan Werich, you will get a shot of him. If you look up Jan Werich Blofeld, you'll get a shot.
Yeah, he's a bit kind of Father Christmassy style, isn't he? I guess.
So of course, last minute recast, and they get Donald Pleasance in, who happens to be bald, and now it's seen as odd when Blofeld's got hair. Well, when we saw bits and pieces of Blofeld in the first few films, he had hair.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not...
Weird.
And he was tall, skinny, and it was a lot more
he had
intimidating.
A voice. You know, they've never got Blofeld right. They've always got him wrong in different ways. And I don't mean matching the books, because I haven't read the Spectre trilogy, but I just mean in creating a really good, memorable character. He comes off as far too weedy. And
that's the first thing I sort of noticed. Obviously, you know him from other films, obviously,
given that
Great Escape. But you kind of notice in terms of stature, you expect this kind of really tall, imposing guy. And he's a bit shorter than Sean Connery.
Yeah, which means that he comes off as like spiteful rather than commanding.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was just thinking, well, who would I have liked to have played the final reveal of Blofeld? And I actually think Christopher Lee.
Very interesting.
I just think you'll forget him playing Scaramanga. He would have been the definitive Blofeld, I think.
Definitely.
And by the time the next film came along, he would have been like 47, still young enough and physical enough to do the bits that were required for that role.
Sure.
Because again, they know they're doing Majesty's next. That's a physical role. So why they've cast Donald Pleasance is beyond me.
It's quite good. It's quite iconic though, because like that we sort of, you know, he turns around and he's got that horrific scar. Oh my god, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I've just thought of him as a bit of a silly little man, really. I haven't loved any of the Blofelds, really. I like Telly Savalas best, but that's because he's in my favourite film.
Sure. I must say the ultimate silliness comes in when you see him in Dragon Diamonds and Forever, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm with you. I think Telly Savalas is the best of the Blofeld because he's a lot more kind of...
He's more physical, isn't he?
Well, he's more. It's not just he's more physical, but he's more command. He looks like a guy who's actually in charge of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's a bit more like, well, I do look like an evil guy with a criminal organisation. Where I mean, I kind of like Pleasance in as a villain.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at these films and you see a Blofeld being introduced. Yeah, it just completely is like a tonal shift. It's weird because thinking about it now, going back to the first Bond film, I think the guy who played Dr. No would have been a better Blofeld. I mean, he's not the right Blofeld you're led to believe, really, are you? He's not. He's basically like he is the best Blofeld, and he's not actually Blofeld.
No.
It's weird, you know. But he's a lot more kind of like what I Blofeld is built up to be, and he looks kind of like, well, that's kind of his Blofeld.
It's like the anti-Blofeld.
None of them are amongst my favourite villains in the series, really. Blofeld as a concept is, because he is Bond's, it's certainly in the cinematic Bond, he's kind of his version of, he's his main antagonist. He's his Lex Luthor or his Joker. But he's not actually ever been done that well. And I know from what people know of the role that when Christoph Waltz turns up, if he is Blofeld and he doesn't have hair, and he has hair,
he will be.
It'll all be like,
it'll all be
like, oh, he's done it wrong, And it's like, no, you're hanging on to an interpretation that wasn't particularly good in the first place.
No.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan, and I much prefer forget the respective films because they vary in quality, but. I mean, I've had a lot to say about the Roger Moore era, which I'm going to go in with as open mind as I can, but I have rewatched Moonraker recently. Drax is better than this. Scaramanga is better than this. Camel Khan's better than this.
I think with Donald Pleasance, I mean, much respect to the actor, because obviously he's known from, outside of Bond as Loomis from the Halloween series. But it's like there's a lot of overacting going on. The accent's a little bit hammy, unfortunately. But
the thing is, though, he just comes. I think he's fine at being like a guy plotting, like a little as a guy he looks good, like sort of creepy guy stroking a cat and kind of yes, I'm very evil. But when it's the little things where like he just looks really sort of tired and weak when he's like pointing a gun. It's just like he's like I can just push you over, like and it's like. And it's like when he says the line "kill Bond now," it just feels like it's just like come on. Oh, okay then.
I don't ever expect, I don't expect Blofeld to have like the strength of Jaws or Oddjob or anything like that.
Oh no.
But there was a sense in the From Russia with Love version and even Thunderball that like he could almost. You could almost have him say, "You really don't want me to get out from behind this desk." Do you know what I mean? It would be, he could take care of business as well, and I don't get that from this Blofeld. They play much more on the sort of deformity and weirdness of the guy than anything else.
Yeah,
and then next week you've got.
Of it is not so much.
I'll talk more about Telly Savalas next week, but Telly Savalas isn't quite right casting either. So. Yeah, it's a bit of a letdown after we've come all this way. He's been teased over the course of 5 films.
I kind of like Donald Pleasance as a Bond villain, as a bald guy with a scar stroking a cat, being a bit creepy and evil. But it's just not the Blofeld that it's built up to be, and at times he's a bit weak. And I think especially in later films, it needs to be more stronger-willed. I mean, I don't know what he's like in the books, but I understand he's a bit of a comedian. But
yeah, I mean they've immediately gone for a very different feel on Blofeld from what I understand he is in the books, and that's fine. Blofeld now, as he comes back, he will be informed by the cinematic version, not by the books anymore. I wouldn't have thought, but there's no reason you got to just pick a bald man just because. It's a bit like when they were talking about like casting Lex Luthor for like Batman versus Superman, and everyone kept on about Bryan Cranston just because he was bald in Breaking Bad. It's like, can you not be a little bit more inventive and thoughtful about it than that? And it's the same here that Peter Hunt did not like this performance. So when he takes the helm in the next one, he wasn't having Pleasance, regardless. But it was also informed slightly by the fact that it was a physical role as well. And so he chose Telly Savalas because, he was bald.
Also, he's Kojak, so he loves you, baby.
Yeah, I know, but you've had this creepy sort of almost Eastern European kind of figure in the films that are built up to him.
He's almost kind of like Germanic.
And then suddenly he's kind of a very sort of...
He's basically, American gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of, his New York accent kind of creeps through, I guess, doesn't he? Or there's kind of a accent that's not... something that
I don't think he does an accent. He just does.
No.
I like the Bond Blofeld dynamic in that film, and I love the film. So by default, Telly Savalas is my favourite Blofeld. But I think it's fair to say, certainly from my perspective, they've not nailed one yet.
No, not yet.
Maybe Sam Mendes will.
Yeah, maybe it will.
No, I mean, it's a good shout, Chris, but I'd let an actor do it.
Yeah.
Oh, touche, touche.
Good job, good job.
Yeah, good job. So, Dave,
Moving
who would you like to see play Blofeld?
I think that young man, Christoph Waltz, could be a good shout.
I agree.
I mean, in this era, it's almost kind of an anyone but. I was just, and you tend to start with Bond villains we've had. That, like, could you have retooled them to be Blofeld? And again, it's not trying to fit this scar on the face, bald thing. If they're bald, fine. If they're not, fine.
I mean, the scar could kind of match how his identity, how he's not, his identity's kind of been masked previously. It's like kind of what they're uncovering, you know. Even like in the scene in Thunderball, he's like in that kind of like table above, with his face covered. It's like you can kind of understand, what's he hiding? So you can kind of understand what he's got.
But all I'm saying is that they've gone for variations on. Well, no, they haven't really, because Charles Gray's different again. But
Yeah.
definitely in popular culture, Blofeld is thought of as bald, and with all the build up we've had to it,
Not quite
there's
what you've been
nothing to
expecting, is
suggest
it?
that. And if you look at the series we've had, Chris has already said, well, Doctor No. And I would say certainly Scaramanga, Christopher Lee. They're all guys that could have played a pretty good Blofeld.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only constant we've had in terms of the Blofeld is like the Nero jacket.
Yeah, but even that, in the earlier films, when we do get little shots of him, he's not wearing that, is he?
No, you don't
in
see it.
Thunderball, he's wearing a suit, isn't he?
He's got just a proper suit on, isn't he? So
Yeah.
he's got like suit and tie. The
Yeah.
cat's the only constant in that case.
But fair props to Donald Pleasance in the role. For whatever reason, he is the most iconic. He is like the one you think of when you say Blofeld. He is the first person you think
Yes,
of.
he is.
When
He's
you
the one that everyone
when
thinks
you
of,
think
yeah.
of Bond villain, he is literally the first image you got in your head as like, what is the
So there's
archetype
no-
Bond villain?
Wheels on his chair. It's like you only live twice.
And he's not even in the whole film. He's only in like the last third.
Yeah, you didn't see it very much.
I would
He
say
didn't do
probably.
very much,
I
does
would
he?
actually say probably from the. Whilst he fits in, as I say, whilst Blofeld his Bond's Lex Luthor, I'd say probably the iconic villain of the series is probably Goldfinger.
Yeah, definitely.
He's very iconic, I think.
But I think when it comes to Donald Pleasance Blofeld, out of all the guys who played Blofeld, he is the one who generally looks like he's a cat lover. You can tell he generally loves that cat. He like,
He does.
yeah, it's like Tony Salas. You can just tell he doesn't really give a shit.
He doesn't
It's
give a
like-
shit, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
He's like, I've got to hold this thing while I do these scenes.
yeah, it's like half time it's like, I just get out of here, you fuck it, you
They
know.
never say, never work with children or animals.
But yeah, it's
That's
like
easy. You can tell tonight we've had no problems. Mine.
but yeah.
She's back
But-
in here now because she was crying so much.
Oh,
For listeners, we probably did cut most of that, but yeah, my cat was going bananas earlier. So some of the disruption my end on the line is that she's only 14 weeks old.
Yeah.
oh, kitten.
Oh, but yeah, the problems I have with Don Pleasance's role, he comes across as just too weak and
It's not a deal breaker. I mean, if the film was amazing and then it led to that reveal, it's not. Good.
yeah.
No, because it's kind of so-so. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know.
And then the film, I know the film, most of Connery's films end up with him on water getting off with some woman, but the ending of this felt really abrupt. It just felt like,
Just
oh,
ends
we're
all of a sudden,
done.
doesn't it? Once they blow up the base, that's
Yeah,
it.
they just run for
Can,
it.
can I just like add? I love the fact that he got like what's the guy in the office name? What's his? I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry.
I don't know, which one are you talking about?
Ooh.
The guy in the office building who's the
Oh, Mr. Osato.
yeah. How Mr. Sarsi just randomly just working on the on the computer. It's like I kept thinking, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, I mean, surely like your numbered agents are like kind of almost your committee.
It's like
You know what I mean? They're not. I don't know.
and he kind of has a look like he's like been put on like on the dunce stool, like he's on the naughty steps.
Pension, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like he's constantly sweating, and then later on, Blofeld just kills him. Said this is the price of failure. It's like, why didn't you kill him, mate? Like off back with
You do it earlier.
why didn't you kill him off with the what's her name?
You needed his skills at sitting at that console and not doing anything.
Basically,
Quite a few people
it's
have
like,
gone for
he
it.
probably thought, I know I'm going to kill you both.
He was
but
doing
I'm
it to
only
stop
going to
you
kill.
being beaten off by
Yeah,
Bond.
being greedy.
But I'm only going to kill her now. But I'm going to kill you in front of Bond to prove a point, even though I'm going to kill Bond just after it. So it just feels like, seriously.
What point are you proving? Bond won't escape. I mean, plot holes will get bigger as this series goes on.
Yeah.
But when we get to Goldeneye, the pre-title sequence, although it's quite iconic now, it makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But we are seeing it here as well, that you're making a point to somebody, which is fine if you're going to let them escape and report. But if you're going to kill them 2 seconds later, it's not really worth it.
No, but I love these kind of Bond trope plot holes. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't hurt the entertainment value, as I say. There's a lot of script problems and a lot of logic problems, but I mean, even by Bond film standards, I mean, they've all got their problems. But the first four were a lot more coherent than this, and you can see that the formula they built, they were handling as they went along, and they were handling it well. This seems that like they've now worked out what the formula is, and they've given it to someone and said, "Here, do this," and it doesn't quite do it right. He does it to the letter, but not the spirit, sort of.
It's like Bond by numbers, really, isn't it?
It's the first one I think falls into that category, yeah. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's sandwiched between two extremely beautiful films in Thunderball and Majesties.
Yeah, to be fair, this is a beautiful looking film as well.
It's beautiful locations, but I actually think it's a little bit. I just think it's a bit grubby compared to what's come before.
It looks good and it sounds good, but plot-wise,
Sounds good.
middling.
Yeah, and Connery quit during this film, so.
In summary, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you two are. I'm ranking as I go, and it's bottom.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I'm ranking as I go because we'll do wrap ups at the end. I mean, do it whenever you want, but at the moment, this is the weakest film we've seen so far.
That was my attempt at a dirty joke. Sorry.
Sorry, did I rank? Oh, sorry, yeah, I caught him ranking. Oh dear.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's really. Oh god. But
So what do you think of the ninja, the ninja assault at the end, the classic Bond?
I think that's done really well.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's one of the best fight scenes in the movie.
But it's all done for all this time. All the time, this film falls down on logic. What Bond does when he gets into the lair is pretty logical all the way through. I mean, he fired off the cigarette. Why didn't he fire it at Blofeld? Chris was able to completely explain why he would do that.
No, I know.
He gets the door. He gets the door open to let some of them in, to be able to blow it, to let them all in. And it's actually it's reasonably well thought out. There's a lot of there's quite a lot of.
But the cigarette thing is a completely stupid move by Blofeld. It's like, oh, of course, I'll give you exactly what you want. Why? Of course, it's just a cigarette.
I know, but as I say, I would imagine, as I say, if he's not a screenwriter, there will have been all sorts of script conferences, I'm sure. And this bit of the film, they figured it out. They sat down and figured it out. So what happens next? Who's meant to be where? And the logistics of this whole sequence play really well. Except the only thing you do have though is when there's gunfights and explosions, you get an awful lot of overacting. From people
and the second appearance of Burt Kwok.
Sorry,
Burt Kwok.
Oh yeah, but Kwok, yeah, you see him again, don't we?
Yeah. This time overdubbed as well.
Yeah, he doesn't make much of an appearance in this film, does he? So it's kind of very kind of.
Well, he's the guy.
on the edges.
He's the guy on the monitors doing a countdown, like in T-minus
2 seconds and counting. But there's another guy we see. There's a guy in an orange jumpsuit, like arbitrarily turning knobs, and I think he also makes another appearance in The View to a Kill, and maybe some other Bond films in between.
There's the guy who when they blow up the craft, and there's the guy on the like TV screen saying it blew up. You know, he's just basically saying everything's all right. He turns up in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes.
Yeah, with the other guys. He's in obviously Shane Rimmer we see before. He's
Shane
in,
Rimmer, that's it.
yeah, Spy Love Me, that's it.
Yeah.
And then the guy, the American, I can't remember his character name, sorry. But he's Hergesheimer from Diamonds Are Forever, so we'll see him again. And then one of the American, also I'm terrible with the character names, but he played Solo, I think, in Goldfinger. And he's now a colonel or general or something.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
think,
Solo's the one that I think Solo's the one that's crushed in the car.
Yeah, you need to get separated from his gold. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could have just gassed him with everyone else, yeah.
Yeah, that's why. He's recycled as a military.
But I mean, they've had a drop in. This film is edited by Peter Hunt, but it very nearly wasn't because he felt he'd been promised the director's chair for this film, and they assembled. Lewis Gilbert's normal director assembled a not very satisfactory cut, so they got Peter Hunt back and promised him the next film. But it's a cycle we'll see again. Most notably, to talking of space ones, between Moonraker and For Your Eyes Only, that I don't think whether we like or dislike this film, I get the feeling the filmmakers weren't overly delighted with it because they changed direction hugely for the next film.
Yeah.
They changed direction, changed the actor.
Yeah, I mean, budget. We get the first budget drop next week as well.
You get a new director as well.
Yeah, Peter Hunt, who his last contribution to the Bond series, and the first contribution from John Glenn we'll get next week as well, who goes on to direct 5 in the 80s.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, he edits, does he? No.
Sorry?
No, he's second unit director, John.
Second unit director, that's
No,
it.
he is editor as well.
Oh, yeah.
But
Okay.
yes, he does direct second unit on that film. But actually, we are getting very close to the sort of end of Lazenby and Connery's era. We've got 2 films to go, and then we're going to sort of change speed for 3 weeks.
Yes. What we do now?
Well, I just thought we'd sort of just sit off and watch a bit of Star Trek. we're gonna space out the reviews a bit. We're gonna do them in sections. The end of the Connery era, albeit with the Lazenby film as well, is a good place to stop and take a pause and do a couple of other things. We'll do the same at the end of the Moore era, and we'll probably do the same at the end of the sort of Dalton Brosnan section, if you like, even though that's not one era. We're gonna do.
By then, Spectre will be out, so we'll probably do a first initial reaction review of that as well, I think.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've talked of doing commentaries.
Yes.
If you're listening to this, by now you will have listened to the Thunderball episode.
One would hope.
One would hope.
Fingers crossed.
Unless this is just like your favourite film and you've gone straight to this one, it's possible.
Yeah.
But we have talked about doing commentaries, and we've actually decided pre-record tonight what those commentaries are going to be.
Yes.
And we're also going to do a music episode. We have a friend who runs a film score website, Films on Wax, Charlie Brigden. He'll be joining us, hopefully on more than one occasion, to discuss the various scores of the Bond films. Either side of that, we will be doing, in this section, we will be recording a commentary on Goldfinger and one on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we will cover all Bonds as we go through them. We've got, at the moment, tentatively, we think we'll end up doing 007 commentaries. Although there's 6 actors, but that's just the way the schedule will work out. So, yeah, we will. Next week we've got the Lazenby effort. Then we finished off the Connery era. And then before we get to Roger Moore, we're going to do a couple of commentaries from the era and a little bit on the early scores from the series.
Indeed. And if you ever want us to do a commentary for any Bond film, just feel free to either get in contact with us or email to or tweet us. And
How do they do that, Becca?
You can find us on Twitter at Expected to Talk. We are now on Facebook, facebook.com/expectedtotalk. Or you can also email us, expectedtotalk@gmail.com. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, cinematronics.co.uk.
Is there anywhere else? That's everywhere, isn't it?
Where else?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've not put it anywhere else. I mean, I could put it on SoundCloud, but
Yeah. We have had, bear with us, folks, we have had a few teething problems with Stitcher.
yeah, for some reason, I won't go into it. But basically, I upload it on the feed, and then I have to go. So far, I have to go email going like, what's going on? And it goes like, yep, yeah, we'll update it for you. I was like, can't you do that automatically?
You have to chase it, don't you? Chase them a little bit.
So I don't know what's going on. If it's a thing where takes a while to be updated, but there you go.
Anyway, please come and find us on the social media. So, like all our pages. Come and follow us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Share it and give us a like. That would be great. And come find us on iTunes. And also, if you could give us a rating, preferably 5-star rating, and a really glowing review, that will help audiences find us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we will just say, because we're obviously asking, Chris just put out a call that if there's any specific commentaries you want us to do, I guess that we may as well tell you the whole schedule of what we are doing, so you don't have to waste your time telling us films we're already going to do. And you can get in your moans first if they aren't the ones you want. So we told you the first ones. When we get to the end of the Moore era, we're going to do his first and last entry. So we will be covering Live and Let Die and A View to a Kill. I can't wait for the View to a Kill commentary.
That's going to be so much fun.
I mean, really, we're doing Goldfinger and On Her Majesty's Secret Service this time. That's about as good as it's going to get from choices that we've made, because these are two films we all kind of admire.
Sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah. Then when we get to the end of the Dalton Brosnan, it's not an era, but we didn't want to do another break after two films. We are going to cover License to Kill, and we are going to cover Die Another Day.
Brosnan's finest role. Okay.
I am sure there are some of you listening to this who are like disappointed it's not GoldenEye because it's largely considered his better entry. There's going to be some amongst you who are disappointed it isn't The Living Daylights, it's License to Kill, but our prerogative, License to Kill, is beloved by two of the three of us.
That's not to say that I don't like it. I do like it.
Oh, I know, but it's in mine.
Of the two Daltons, I tend to prefer Living Daylights, but that's a personal preference. I mean, that's not to say I don't like License to Kill. I love it, but there it is.
But we're going to do License to Kill, and we've got to do Die Another Day because it's just too good an opportunity to pass up.
How can we not do it?
Yeah. And when we get to the end of the Craig era, obviously we will only have, we may have all four on home release by then.
We shall see.
We shall see. The Craig one is to be decided. We have a few.
My call is Skyfall for now.
Yeah, I would say Skyfall too.
Okay. Well, as a teaser goes, that was shit because we've just told them.
Okay.
Why hide it? Why hide it?
It is possible.
It might change, folks. It might change.
Of the three that we've got so far, it would be Skyfall. Not because it's our favourite, but because I don't even think we'd talk if we watched Casino Royale.
Because it's the best Craig. Sorry, Skyfall lovers, but yeah, it's true.
Well, I mean, you can make an argument for Skyfall. It's just wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is possible if it's been out on home release for a while by then, we do reserve the right to switch that to Spectre. But at the moment, Skyfall is the Craig film we're likely to do. So those are the 7 reviews. Every Bond is covered at least once. Moore is covered twice. But I think as somebody who had probably the biggest operating window of quality, that's probably, and the longest run and the most number of films, that's probably appropriate.
But yeah, if you ever want us to cover your particular favourite Bond film...
Or the one you think's hilariously awful.
Yeah.
Because I was all up for doing Diamonds Are Forever, but we would have only reviewed it the week before. So it's a bit too soon. And to be fair, I mean, Goldfinger and On Her Majesty's Secret Service are just far, far better films. And Diamonds Are Forever isn't as laugh-worthy as A View to a Kill and Die Another Day. It's kind of just... Well, we'll talk about it.
It's the right balance of quality and naffness.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, it's the right balance of like films we admire and films we're just going to just have fun with.
You don't want 7 weeks of us saying this is amazing.
Yes.
I think it's important we respect some of the better films in the franchise, but when we get to Brosnan, in my opinion, at the moment, Die Another Day is more bad than GoldenEye is good.
We are going to have more fun watching Die Another Day.
It's so much fun.
It's going to be a straight ride. I mean, the top and tail of the show might get a little bit of editing, but obviously the show, because we've got to match the speed of the Blu-ray, we will be watching it without editing. So whatever we say, whatever we cock up, if my cat decides to have an epileptic fit, it's all going. Whatever we say, whether it's tasteless or
it'll be au naturel.
It'll be in. That worries me with Goldfinger because Chris has already had to cut out quite a bit about Honor Blackman that I said. but never
Yes,
mind.
don't make that joke again, please.
I will not make that joke again. I will not imply. Oh, hang on.
No.
So... Becca
Please do not say fuck or
for
bugger.
about 2 minutes. She was like really kind of. I'd let myself down. That was the best. I'd not just let the podcast down. I'd let myself down.
Shocking.
So that'll start in 3 weeks, folks. So we go on to the last 2 films, and then we will hit a commentary. And after that, whether we do 2 commentaries in a row or split it with the music episode, that will depend on our guests' schedule.
Awesome sauce, as they say.
Do they?
Cool.
Oh, that's what I say. So there you go.
Awesome sauce, definitely.
Yeah.
Is that anything to do with Bond beating off Blofeld? Awesome sauce.
That came out wrong.
That could have been his quip after he, wiped it off his chin.
That came out so wrong. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean that at all. Oh dear. I didn't mean it to come out like that. It's not what I meant.
Which is, again, could also be dialogue from that scene.
But I'm so damn tired. Oh.
So I have a quick question, right? If you're going to cast Blofeld, obviously, you can't say Christoph Waltz. Who'd you cast?
What now?
Yeah.
God.
Because I think Killian Harris would be a good shout.
Who?
He's in a lot. He's getting a lot of stuff now. But I don't know what I personally think. I think his name's Harris. Hang on.
Oh, do you mean Scarecrow?
No.
Cillian Murphy.
No. Yeah.
That would be weird casting.
No, I was
Okay.
thinking.
Hang on.
First off, I thought he meant Jared Harris.
He'd be good.
I
I think
don't know.
he's already Moriarty, isn't he? So.
I don't know. There's a part of me, you couldn't have done this with Majesty's because it's physical and everything else. But I almost wish we'd never seen Blofeld's face.
Oh, sorry, Syrian Hines.
Kieran Hines.
Oh, Kieran. Oh, from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
he's in Game of Thrones now.
Are we talking about the same person? Have you seen?
He's like an older fella, 62 actually. Fucking hell.
yeah.
But he's in The Woman in Black. He's in Harry Potter film Rome.
Yeah,
Ghost Rider
I
2.
think that is. That is. He's behind the wall.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
That's a really good shout. He might be a bit too old now. Depends what you want to do with the character, really. I mean, obviously, if it is Christoph Waltz, the theory is he sort of grew up with Bond, and there's too big an age gap there. But if you went along the sort of classic route of Bond didn't know him till he met him, sort of thing, that's not a bad shout.
I'm trying to think who else would be good examples.
They don't spring to mind, and I think that might be because, like I said, a definitive Blofeld hasn't really formed itself in my mind, so I haven't really got an archetype to lead up to.
Probably some not that well-known European actor. Really, probably be like the best thing to go for. I would have thought
Bruno Ganz.
Who?
Bruno
Oh yeah,
Ganz.
that's true.
Downfall played Hitler.
Oh
Yeah, he's quite good.
He might be too old as well, actually.
Bruno Ganz, is it?
Yeah, he's 74 now. He's way too old.
Yeah, he's a bit old, but he would have been good though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen that?
Question.
Have you seen that? I think it is Downfall, but you've seen that where they put alternate subtitles where
There's been loads of them. Yeah.
he's pissed off that he didn't go to Yorkshire or something like that.
I mean, it got a bit overdone, but to be honest, I kind of stopped watching them before I was fed up with them. Every time I saw one of them, I thought it was really funny.
Mm.
But
I think it's just something about Hitler just going off on one, but in complete out of context. It's just funny.
yeah. But we do see Blofeld again next week.
Oh. Yes.
Indeed, we will return with On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
That was what we ended up on. That's directly taken from the score, folks.
Yes. Please don't sue me.
Bye.